IVM.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories, India's very own travel podcast, where each week we share the journey of travelers in their own words and relive their experiences with you, our listeners.
Hi guys, welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories. Now today's episode is really special because we talked to Ajitha Yasmin, one of our listeners and also the winner of Get Featured on the Musafir Stories contest that we ran on the occasion of International Podcast Day. But before we start that episode, a quick shout out to the wonderful folks at Castbox, one of the fastest growing podcast app that is available for both iOS and Android users. Castbox has some really cool features like in-episode audio search, which is great for finding specific information, great volume boost functionality that is useful for outdoor listening, and also the ability to change narration speeds. That's very useful for super users. Now, along with this, listeners of the Musafir Stories can now access premium features on Castbox by using the promo code Musafir, MUSAFIR, Musafir. This will be valid for 6 months once you go premium. We also recently had a brilliant chat on the Castbox original program called Podcast Unfiltered with Vijay Gautam. So links are in the show notes. You can go check out that conversation that Faiza and I had with Vijay as well. On with today's episode now.
Hey Ajitha, welcome to the Musafir Stories.
Hey, Saifan Faiza. Happy to be part of Musafir Stories. Thank you for having me on the show, Saifan Faiza. I'm happy to be featured on this episode.
Yeah, same here. It's almost like 9 o'clock, I think, by the time we've started this episode, 9 p.m. I was so close to missing this particular recording because of the heavy rain and bad traffic right here. But I am so glad that I was able to dial into this. So this is like a special episode that I'm super excited to discuss about because Ajitha is one of our listeners and she's so dear to us. So Ajitha, a big thank you and welcome again.
Yeah, delighted to have you, Ajitha.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Ajitha, what do you do? How did you start traveling?
Yeah, I'm rooted in Chennai and now working in Bangalore. So I'm basically an adrenaline junkie. I love traveling and adventure sports. So I keep planning trips within my friends group also all the time, and my parents also. I keep saying them that we should keep traveling to places, and my father is greatly supporting my thoughts on travel. Though he doesn't participate, he allows me to travel everywhere across the world. So he also gifted me a trip to Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia on my birthdays. So I was super excited to have such a supporting father in terms of travel. This travel gives me a kick and a sense of accomplishment with no other activity gives.
Awesome. And a big shout out to your dad. That's like your dad who are supportive of their children and especially their daughters, right? Allowing them to go explore the world and get to have new experiences. Wonderful. So, without delving into too many other things, Ajitha, I am really excited to talk about the destination that you pitched for. So, tell us and our listeners where you're taking us to.
It's my pleasure to share my experiences about Chadar Trek in this forum. Hope it mesmerizes you as much as it did it to me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I was just browsing on the top 10 difficult treks of India, and Chadar was topping the list. So I was wondering what's so difficult about Chadar, and as I was browsing, it intrigued my interest towards the place. It is done the Zanskar mountain ranges. In between the Zanskar mountain ranges, the Zanskar river keeps flowing. And during winter, this river is completely frozen. And this becomes a lifeline to carry the commodities from one place to another, from Zanskar village to the actual city for transport.
Okay.
So I was very much interested in this, and like when I kept exploring, one of my friend from Chennai, who belongs to this Chennai trekking club, so he was telling us about this Chadar trekking, and I was like totally off the world. So I wanted to participate in the trek, and I gave him the word. and that's how it all started.
Wonderful. And just as a reference for our listeners, like Ajitha said, the Chadar Trek is done on a frozen river, basically the frozen Zanskar River, and that's the unique thing about this trek. And it's situated in Jammu and Kashmir. That's where the Zanskar ranges are, and this trek is only done early Jan through Feb, I guess, right? It's a winter trek basically, and it's done when the river is frozen. Basically, there's no other road per se that connects the endpoint to the village at the end of this. So it's also it's an actual transportation route between the village to, say, the mainland. So that's why this is really exciting. And for me too, it gave me back memories of a trek I'd done in the Zion National Park. This is a park in the Utah state of the United States of America, and again this is a trek that's done in a stream, so flowing water, and sometimes it gets up to your waist level. When you pitched this, the first thing that I was reminded of was the Zion Narrows, where this trek is done. But yeah, unlike the trek in the water, here you're actually walking on, like they say, thin ice, right? So that's what it is, and we are very excited. So tell us a little bit more about your background, Ajitha. Like, how long have you been trekking, and is this trek suitable for, say, beginners too? Because I've heard this is a pretty difficult trek in that sense, right?
Yeah, right. So my trekking journey started back in 2014. My first trek was with Chennai Trekking Club, run by Peter Van Gate in Chennai. So it was towards Nagalapuram in Chittoor district in Eastern Ghats.
Okay.
So that was a great kickstart for me, and I started loving the green trails, how it went, the rocky terrains and green terrains. The love towards the green was increasing day by day. So that's how my trek started. So, and then I moved to Bangalore, and the beauty of Western Ghats was pulling my interest. And I had a gang who is like trekking regularly here.
Okay.
So I joined the trekking gang, and I started trekking to Kodachadri, Chikmagalur, Sakleshpur, Mulangiri, etc. So this trek, basically, Chadar Trek doesn't have difficult terrain per se. But it doesn't have rocky climbs and all. But it has a slippery ice sheets all through the journey. And when the ice sheets are not properly formed, you'll be asked to cross the mountain ranges in rocky terrains. So that climb is really difficult, and you just have to hope and pray for the ice to be properly formed.
Yeah, that's how I think even the trek gets its name, Chadar, which literally means like almost a blanket. So yeah, or a
exactly.
sheet. Yeah, so the ice is basically formed a blanket or a sheet-like thing on the river, helping everybody to take the trek.
Exactly. That's how the name has been arrived. So there are different sheets of the different layers of ice you see as you go through the journey. Some ice will not be properly formed. Some will be partly formed. And when you keep your legs, it might go inside. You'll have all this fear. And when the ice is completely formed, the different fear comes in, wherein this ice will become completely slippery. And normal shoes, when you walk on the normal shoes, you will definitely fall down at least. As days goes by, you will get used to falling down in this trek. So even I have fallen down like 4 or 5 times in the complete terrain, and everyone got used to falling down, and they started enjoying it. Some started skating on the ice without any prior practice also. So it was just beautiful.
Wonderful.
So the travel guides who came with us, like, they gave complete instructions on how to walk. It's like you cannot walk normally as you walk in the roads of Bangalore. So you will have to keep your head bit tilted towards the ground.
Okay.
And any backpack is recommended for while walking, because it gives you a support because of which your body will automatically be tilted forward.
Right. And I think you can't even like lift your footsteps. You would literally have to slide them. Is it like that as
slide? Exactly. So when the smooth ice sheets come, you cannot lift. If you lift and some ice particles goes in between your shoes, it is definitely a sure shot fall. So they don't recommend lifting your legs up. You'll have to glide all through the terrain. And imagine gliding the terrain for 70 kilometers. It is not going to be easy at all.
Definitely not.
Exactly. And I think that brings us to a good segue also. Tell us a little bit about the length of the trek as well, and when exactly you did it. It's a winter trek, we mentioned that, but when did you do it, and how long was this for?
Yeah, I did it in the January of 2018. So it was a 6-day trek. First day and last day are short treks. It is like just like 12 kilometers, and in between it is like 13 kilometers and 15 kilometers. So altogether, it comes to around 70 kilometers trekking.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's over a 6-day period, which is quite incredible given that you're doing it at at an altitude of over 11,000 feet, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly. It is 11,000. It starts from 10,000 and it gradually increases to 11,000 at the Nerek waterfalls, and you come down to 10,000 back.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful.
What about packing, Ajitha? Did you pack anything special when you went all the way from here? Or
Yeah, did you pick stuff up from here, or did you purchase stuff there? How did you prepare for this?
Yeah, it was both actually. So when I started from here, I experienced barely that kind of negative temperature. So it was very first time for me. Because my least was -1 and -2. I didn't go beyond that. So there, when I heard it was like -20 in the nights, -20 to -30 in the nights, and during daytime it comes to -10 to -15. So it is never positive in Chadar, because if it is positive, it is again dangerous to you. The river will be frozen down, so it will be melted down, so you cannot risk your life there. So while starting here, I packed 3 layers of tops. That is, one is thermal layer, and next layer was fleece jacket, and next was hollow fill jacket, and 3 layers of bottom. One was thermal, and then a comfortable trekking pant, and then on top of that a waterproof pant.
Okay.
So these were the 3 layers on the top and bottom, and I had one layer of woolen socks, and I got some shoes from Decathlon. But I recommend users not to use Decathlon shoes. I mean, not because the gumboots that they provide in Leh is actually very comfortable for the Chadar trekking.
Okay.
So instead of buying shoes and spending some money on that, you can go for gumboots which they recommend, with the tour guides they themselves recommend.
Okay.
And in terms of say other equipment, right, like trekking equipment, like those poles, the sticks that you hold and stuff like that, and sleeping bags, tents, etc., are those all provided by your like touring company, or how does that work?
Yeah, if you want, you can get it from them, but I purchased it myself because I wanted to do a lot of these kind of treks, so I purchased one for myself.
Okay.
I got a tenting pole, I got neck gaiters, I got a balaclava, I got some thermostat water bottles. And one recommendation is like when you use camphor, when you smell camphor, it prevents the effect of AMS. So you don't feel the giddiness or vomiting sensation. So they recommended us to get camphor packs. So we got some balls of camphors. And there's something called wormy packets. Wormy packets is like when you rub it, it has some chemical in it, and when you rub it hard, it becomes heated up.
Okay.
And you can put it on in between your socks or in between your gloves. You can just put it so that you keep your body warm.
Yep.
So they use this wormy packets for keeping your body warm. So this is for weak peoples, but not on the first day. At least you don't use wormy. So you need to experience that climate, and as gradually days goes by, you can start using 1 or 2 packs of wormy. If in case like near Nerek the temperature plummets down highly.
Okay.
So near Nerek waterfalls, we have a night stay in Nerek waterfalls.
Right.
So on that day you can use wormy packets to keep yourself warm.
Okay.
So Ajitha, you purchased all this here in Bangalore or in Leh? Where did you purchase all these, like the wormy packs and the other stuff?
Yeah, wormy packs we can get it either purchased online here in Bangalore or there in Leh as well.
Okay.
So we got some from here and some we got it in Leh. I recommend going there and buying it.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, you touch upon an important point in terms of AMS or acute mountain sickness, right? Because this is no joke. This can be lethal sometimes, given that you are at altitudes of over 10,000 feet and the air gets like really thin and oxygen levels also fall down. And I've heard like recently a couple of people I knew, they went on they were not even hard treks, but just because of AMS, one of them actually even lost his life. So I strongly urge listeners to take precautions and keep AMS and altitude sickness and frostbite and things like that in mind, because it's not just like a little hindrance. These things can get fatal at times. So please take care of these things, take proper precautions, and keep your friends and keep the guides updated about your health from time to time. That's what I would suggest. How did you guys take care of or take precautions against this, Ajitha?
The problem with AMS is we cannot take any precautions on that because we never know if we will really fall for AMS or we won't. How efficient our lungs are, we never know unless we go at such an altitude.
Yep.
So they gave us one day to get acclimatized in Leh. So we got down on 13th of January and we took the 13th of January for acclimatization in Leh. We just spent the whole day spending in our hotel, just walking here and there. I found some differences even while climbing the steps and getting down. So there is definitely a difference while we are going immediately shooting up from 3,000 feet to 11,000 feet. There's lots of differences when we climb even 2-3 steps. I just found some differences, and so that's how it started. But as time went by, it was okay. We were getting used to it. And evening we went for a walk where they took us for shopping. So people who didn't get woolen socks and all, we were shopping there. There were some military shops in Leh who sell goods for cheap cost. So I recommend users to go there and buy it from the military shops as well,
Right.
because their quality is also very good and they are very cheap compared to the rates in Bangalore.
Yeah, I think also, as you pointed out, acclimatization becomes also so much more important, right? It's very, very important that you spend some time and get used to the altitude, the weather conditions there, etc.
And if you do experience any difference in your own health, I think it's always better to like call it out to people who are around and tell them that you're not feeling that good.
Yep, exactly. Awesome.
Exactly.
So lovely. I think you've set up the context really well for us. We've gone through the stages of preparation, etc. I think we should directly jump into the trek now and start with your day one and how it was, and tell us where you headed off to.
Yeah, so after the acclimatization process, it was Monday. So we had to go to Chiling. That's the place where the trek starts. So it is
Okay.
80 kilometer away from Leh. The place itself is, the name itself is like Chiling.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's 80 kilometer away. So they took us in a van. So we opted for porters because we didn't know how difficult the trek would be. So we opted for porters. So they were carrying our luggages and they were coming in another van and we were in one van. We were traveling and we halted at Magnetic Hill to take some photos and see the beauty of Magnetic Hill. See it's a wonder actually. It's a wonder. We stood there and we had a glance of it, and then we started to chilling. So the first day campsite was towards Shingra.
Okay.
So from Chiling to Shingra, it is like around 12 kilometers. So they started giving tips on how we need to walk, how to glide and slide, and where all we should not lift our legs, and what are the difficulties we should face there. And there was one more disclaimer put saying that if in case they'll be checking oxygen levels of everyone, they have this oximeter, portable oximeter device with them.
Okay.
So if in case at the end of the day, if your oxygen levels are not up to the mark, after a short sleep, after a break, they used to check it. If the oxygen level is not up to the mark, they will be sent back.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So generally, what are the oxygen levels? Because around, at least I think here in normal terrains, you have to be above 100.
Yeah, I mean it's close to 100%. I think, right? Close to 100.
Yeah, normal terrain they suggest 90 plus, and in terrains like that 80 plus. 80 plus is suggested. 80 plus seems fit.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems a little bit less. I think I'm already feeling less oxygenated.
So I'll ask you a very important question at this point. How much long was it before you had your first fall, or somebody from your group had their first fall?
It was just immediately in half an hour. Not even half an hour. It was in 15 minutes. The first fall was in 15 minutes. And the worst part of it was one guy kept his legs in the water.
Oh Lord.
So the ice was partly formed and we were about to jump. We were about to have a long jump there, but somehow he kept his leg inside the water, and that was like so scary. He was shouting because as soon as your legs go inside, you don't feel your legs. You start getting numb. You won't have the senses to remove it yourself also. So the guide was pulling his legs out of the water, and slowly we were rubbing his legs, and his socks was completely wet. When he took it out and showed the socks, it was not even able to fall down
to
the ground.
Frozen. Oh my God.
Completely frozen. So that was the first fall, and it was immediately 15 minutes later we started. So the cautiousness of the team gradually increased, seeing all these incidents. So we sat back after that for 15 minutes, and the guide was again instructing how to use this pole to avoid all these falls. So when you walk, before you will have to check your pole. Though he was walking in front, but somehow when he jumped, this guy couldn't jump as much as that guy jumped. So it was quite scary that time. That was the only fall where the guy kept in water.
I bet it would have taken him a long time to get back to normal, the numbness to go as well. Plus, I think once your clothes and your socks are wet, and your shoes especially, I think if they are wet, your entire day is just pretty much ruined because you have to walk around with those wet shoes. Or
luckily,
I don't know.
No, that's the beauty of gumboots. Gumboots are like waterproof boots.
Oh.
So when you just rub it on sides of the rocks, it will be back to normal. That is the beauty of gumboots. Decathlon provides waterproof shoes. They suggest that, but I prefer gumboots. On my personal opinion, I prefer gumboots for all these kind of adventures.
That's quite a learning.
Some people use crampons on top of gumboots also, but I don't think crampons is necessary really, because without crampons, our team did well.
Okay, that's great. Awesome. So you trekked for about 12 kilometers that first day before you camped, right?
Right. And this was towards Shingra. Shingra was our first camping site.
Okay. Yeah, go on.
So on the way there will be many people carrying the sledges with your luggages and all. So they'll be dragging it, and you can see them shouting out "Jule, Jule." So Jule is the way to greet people in Ladakh. So that keeps you motivating. That looking at their happiness and their smile and their faces, like it keeps you motivating throughout that trek. All through the way they keep shouting and they keep dancing here and there, and they were a highly motivating team of people.
Okay, wonderful. And then tell us a little bit more. So your first day you've trekked, you're all excited, and at the same time you've had a little bit of a mishap in terms of one of your team members like stepping in water, etc. So how was the first night when you camped?
Yeah, first night we were totally frozen. We couldn't come out of the tent also. The tent was also cold. The sleeping bags, whichever we carried, everything was cold. So I couldn't touch my friend's body also. When I touched my friend's body, I was like current shock. It was the cold shock.
Oh my God.
So they gave us hot tea. As soon as we reached the camping site, they gave us hot tea with biscuits. So in that sense, the porters and the cook people who came with us were so supportive. They know the plight. They know how we can adapt. And our team was a vegetarian team, so we didn't. Usually, people prefer eating sheep there. Eating sheep will increase your
body temperature,
immunity towards body temperature, and it will increase your immunity towards the cold. So they suggest eating sheep, but our team was a vegetarian team, and we couldn't go for that. We were eating rajma chawal across the trip.
And how about some say local delicacies? Did you have a chance to try them out as well? I mean, I am not quite sure if that was accessible, but did you get a chance to savor some of those?
Yeah, there was something called tukka.
Okay.
Tukka was a Tibetan. Yeah, correct, exactly. The Tibetan soup. So that was given to us almost all the days during the lunchtime.
Okay.
So that was not easy to eat. It didn't taste good as much as we expected. So we found it hard to eat. But still, they give that because you don't feel hungry as soon after eating it. You don't feel it will keep your appetite bit lesser compared to the normal days.
Right. So, Ajitha, the first day, how long of a trek was it, did you say?
It was 12 kilometers.
Oh, 12 kilometers. Okay, perfect. Okay.
So we were just after reaching the camping site, using the washroom was also a new experience to us. So the keeping personal hygiene, how to keep the personal hygiene, there was an instruction given to us, like what kind of things that you will have to maintain there. And since Himalaya is getting polluted, since those places are getting polluted, we should not use wet tissues, which won't be decomposed that easily. We should be using normal tissues, paper tissues, so that it will be decomposed easily there. So these instructions were given to us. After reaching the camping site, we were into our sleeping bags, and some people use hot water bags, to keep themselves warm. So that was very helpful. That was very effective as well, because once we were using hot water bags, we didn't feel cold at all. It was very highly advisable.
But I think quite an effort to fill the hot water bags for so many people as well, right?
Yeah, we were a team of 12 people. So those cooks, they were prioritizing the need of hot water. So immediately, as soon as they land there, they will fill our thermostat water bottles with hot waters, and all the hot water bags will be filled by them.
Okay, good.
Okay, wonderful. So, first day, I mean, you're all excited and new experiences, obviously. So, you've gone through all of this, and where were you headed off on the next day?
Next day was towards Tip Caves.
TIBB
right.
Tip Caves?
TIBB.
Okay.
Yes, right. So I was seriously expecting a cave there, which will be very much closed, and I won't feel the cold. But it was not like that. It was a joining place of two mountains. So it was still cold only. But the way it is surrounded by mountain, it was wrapped by mountains, I would say. So that was our next place of stay. There were two teams parallel to us. They were also walking with us. They were having all the songs being played inside the trek, and it was completely entertaining.
Okay, interesting.
So the beautiful thing about Tip Caves was the galaxy of stars. When we came out that night, we couldn't go inside back, and by this time we were like used to that weather.
Right.
We were knowing what layers to wear, which layer is very comfortable to wear to bearing that weather. So we were all comfortable with the layers of clothes. And when we came out, when we looked above, and that was amazing sight. I couldn't explain it in words. It was a galaxy of stars in front of me. It was like a fairy tale.
Sure.
And the songs were there. It was a fairy tale. I was sitting in a cave, just glancing at the stars. It was just amazing walk that day. So second day is my most memorable day in the complete trek. It was a 15-kilometer trek. It is the longest trek actually compared to other days. 15-kilometer was the longest one, and this walking keeps you warm actually. So as you walk, you will find yourself warm, and you will feel like walking more and more. When you reach the camping site, you will be like, can I walk more? You will get that kind of sensation. You won't feel like resting back in your sleeping bag, because sleeping bag is already filled with ice here and there.
Right.
So in this cave, when we woke up and saw, the tent was covered with a sheet of ice. So they had to rub the tents all the sides so that the ice will just fall off. It was an amazing experience altogether.
And just going back to the night skies that you experienced there, right? I mean, this is literally like people say, right? It looks like a galaxy of stars, but in this case, it is literally like that, right? Because especially for people of the city who are who've been living in the cities because of all the light pollution and all of that, we barely get to enjoy our skies at night time, right? So this must have been a great experience.
Exactly, and the density of stars, I didn't even imagine that it would be so much. Because here in Bangalore, I hardly see like one or two stars here and there, but there, the density of stars, it was very close to each other. And one of our trek mates, Sandeep Nagar, he was just spotting the stars, and he was naming, this star is that star is this, and we were so amazed looking at that view, completely amazed.
Reminds me of that scene from Swades, right, where he tries to draw
constellations.
Constellations. That's what it must have been like that.
So, what time of the day did you guys start off the next trek?
Yeah, the next day was where were you headed off to, and how long of a day was this in terms of kilometers covered?
Yeah, after Tip Cave, it was our destination, Nerak Waterfalls. It was 13 kilometers. So we are finally towards our destination. And every day morning, as usual, they were checking the oximeter readings. And luckily, our team was good enough to proceed. So only one girl was sent back. On the first day, one girl was sent back because of our fitness levels. So all of us were going ahead. And this was much awaited day. Nerak Waterfalls, the mother of all waterfalls, was right in front of our eyes. So it was 13 kilometers. It was a comparatively because the previous day it was 15 kilometers, and 13 seemed very shorter trek to us.
Right.
So in between we were seeing some ice plates also in water. So all now the view seemed very interesting to us. We started observing the difference in the ice sheets. Like when you walk in some ice areas in Game of Thrones episodes and all, I'll be hearing that sound, the cracking of ice.
Right.
So that sound I was really experiencing below my legs. So when I keep on, so even in deep fridge, you might be seeing different levels of ices.
Right.
There are different kinds of ices as we go forward. Some ice was completely formed, it was slippery. Some were partly formed, and you were actually able to carry the ice in your hands and play with it, like snowfall regions. And some ice was like partly formed, wherein when you keep your legs inside, you will feel water going besides your shoe. So that part were scary. So these kinds of different ice was there, and you will start realizing how to walk in different ices, ice sheets. In some places you will have to glide, in some places you can just walk as normally, and some places the problem will come when the ice terrain changes. So once the snowy region to the slippery region, when it changes, that time you will have to slowly slide and lift your legs, and these things you will start learning as you walk through. And the learning was all interesting, and we started sliding and playing in some terrains. So we were sleeping and rolling in some terrains. So, so it was all full of fun. And some places the porters carry the sledge, right? They call you to sit on top of sledge, and they drag you to some extent, and they will have fun doing that. So they'll be singing songs and dragging you forward. So it was all fun and interesting.
Awesome. And tell us a little bit more about the Nerak waterfalls, right? Because this one is a technically frozen waterfall, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, it is completely frozen waterfalls. Basically, Nerak is a village in the other part of Zanskar. So there's a village from where the people would commute to Leh to sell yak butter, copper utensils, goat skin, etc. So during summer, there is another route saying Pensila, a mountain range of Ladakhi region. So that route was used during summer for transporting these goods. But in winter, that route becomes unusable. It would be completely filled with ice, and it would become useless. So people prefer the Zanskar route, which is like 145 kilometers. Actually, yeah, there is one more trek called Full Circuit Chadar Trek. When the person will be taken beyond Nerak waterfalls to the actual village, and you can come back. So that stretch is a long one, but today I don't see any trekking group doing that. Maybe because of the difficulty level, or because of the AMS sickness, maybe because it is even more elevated. As you go beyond Nerak, it is more elevated, and you won't find any proper place to stay, I think. So they don't recommend going beyond Nerak. We turned back from Nerak, but I think we should sometime try this full circuit Chadar Trek as well.
I think also the name also is a pretty scary name.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Nerak, whatever, however you would pronounce it, means hell.
Exactly, they call it Narak. Some people call it Narak. Localites call it Narak because
Narak
of the harsh weathers.
Yeah,
because of the harsh weather conditions there. So in between the treks, we saw some hot water springs as well.
Oh, wonderful!
Wow.
So that was totally a surprise. It came as a surprise to us because we could never expected such water. Even a small waterfall also, there were even a stream was frozen. But in 2 or 3 places, he stood and he was explaining about the hot water springs. So those people have strong belief in Dalai Lama. They preach Dalai Lama as their god, Tibetan culture. So they believe that this hot water springs were formed by Dalai Lama because people were suffering without water while they walk from one end to another. So these springs were helping them to have some water in between.
Wow. Yeah, but along with that, it's also a marvel of the nature, right? At one hand, you have temperatures at about minus 20 to minus 30 degrees, and at the same place, you have these hot water springs, right? So it's a marvel of nature as well.
Right, exactly.
Awesome. So at this point, you're 3 days into the trek or into the trip?
Yeah, we have completed 3 days, and next 3 days is just a repeat of first 3 days. So site is just the same, but when you come from the other side, the site doesn't seem like a repetition. The mountains seem different to us when we come from the other side. So and one more thing is like when you walk without sunglasses, the intensity of sun rays is very high. So it just reflects from the ice sheets and it gets directly into your eye. Your eyes starts burning when you go without sunglasses.
Sure. So that's advisable too.
Yeah, carry sunglasses.
Yeah, right.
Because
So,
places like these, you would never think, a lot of people, initially at least, when a lot of people used to say ki you have to carry sunscreen and sunglasses and all that, so it would be quite a shocker. But then, like, I remember telling my dad, saying that, why do you need to carry sunglasses? And he's like, the sun intensity is so high that you need a sunglass to, like, protect your eyes. So yeah, it's some stuff that you would not relate to right away.
exactly.
Or at least maybe I was living under a rock that back then.
Yeah, there were some incidents like which was scary. One guy from another trekking group, he fell into water. He was shouting. He, for one instance, when he was partly into water, he was shouting, and then he lost his grip and he fell completely into water. So they just ran and took him out of water. His body was turning blue color. The oxygen levels were decreasing. Then they were just rubbing all through his body. So it is better to be disciplined and go ahead with the rules and regulations of your team. We don't recommend doing any risky adventures at such a places, because jumping into the water will bring a condition called hypothermia.
Absolutely.
So that is again a risky condition, and it's better to be disciplined at such places.
Exactly. I think you raise a very valid and a very important point too. The importance of responsible travel in such places, right? It becomes even more, I think, even more critical it becomes, because given the unique nature of these places, plus the harsh conditions they are in, right? It is best to respect nature in these instances and be responsible. Like, whatever you're doing, don't be stupid, and don't go against the advice of the tour guides and your team. And think about everybody. Think about yourself first, and then think about everybody else as well, as to how it might impact, like acts of like stupid or foolish acts like this might impact the rest of the group as well. So responsible travel also becomes a very important part of travel in general, but it becomes more critical in places like this. But one other point I'd like to touch at this stage, Ajitha, is that you've been with the team, you've been with the group for a good 5-6 days, right, over the trek. But how was the experience, like interacting with the porters, or say with the cooks, the locals who came along with you, right? How was the experience interacting with these folks?
Except the tour guide, no one understands our language. Everyone speak Ladakhi language. So with the porters, we couldn't make any conversation. We could just make some actions, and we were trying to ask some food, to ask them to fill water bottles, and that was the maximum. The smile they give, they call July, July. So whatever we talk, we'll end up with July, July. So that's how we could converse with them. They were also very old people. They were making their living out of this porter work. So we couldn't converse much. But yeah, they were this. Apart from tour guides, there were two more people who were quite friendly, and they were making fun of us. So the way we conversed was very little. So we were singing our songs, and they started singing their songs in return. So they were like, there was a Ladakhi song which was Mapo Na Leva Le Jire. So when we sing this our song, they were singing their song, and they were trying to teach us the words in that song.
Okay.
So that was the maximum conversation with them. And the food, when they give the food, and when we don't eat it completely, they start coming and say, eat. The love and the care they show was just lovely. We were feeling at home with them also, though we didn't understand the language. The way they show their actions, and the way they ask us to eat, everything, they were so friendly people. There is an old Ladakhi saying also, only the best of friends and worst of enemies visit us. So this is one of the famous Ladakhi sayings. So they were living according to it. And one more thing, I wanted to share this. At the end of the trek, after we returned from Nerek to Chiling, as soon as we reached Chiling, on the way there were some juniper trees, and the twig of juniper tree was given to all of us at the end. According to them, this brings good luck, wealth, and health.
Oh, wonderful!
It's interesting. Yeah.
So, yeah, they believe on that, and when we completed, they just kept the twig of juniper tree on all our jackets, and they were blessing us. We could just understand their blessings in the actions, but yeah, they were blessing us. They were posing with us in all the photos. So Stanzin is a common name in Ladakhi. So at least out of 10, 3 people were named as Stanzin. Stanzin.
Okay, Stanzin. Interesting.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I don't know what is the significance of it, but many people were named after that person. I just wanted to read about it. So that was there.
So
Yeah.
wonderful. It looks like overall a great experience, a great adventure, and in such harsh conditions, you guys have had a great time too. So I'm really glad that you had a wonderful time. So on your way back, you pretty much retraced the same route, but did you spend more time in Leh once you were back?
Yeah, we spent one day. We just visited the Spitik monastery. We were having some snacks and Neha snacks, and some historical Wall of Fame museum was there.
Oh, the Hall of
We were
Fame?
going across. Yeah, correct. Hall of Fame. So we were going through the such places and we came back.
Okay.
So since it was winter, there was not much happening in Leh. If it was summer, there would be a lot of happening stuffs in Leh. And the motorbikes rental, we were trying to rent a motorbike, but all the rental shops were closed since it was winter. And people rarely come out of their houses. So we spent day in hotel only most of the time.
Okay. Wonderful.
Sounds like an amazing journey that you've had and that you've taken us to. Thank you so much for being a wonderful guide to us.
Yeah, it is, as I said, right, this one is a very unique trek in itself. And thank you for giving us and our listeners sample of this, a flavor of this, and a lot of important points too, right from how to be prepared to go on such a trek to important things like responsible travel that one has to keep in mind while going to places like this, and respect the nature, right, more than anything, because these are all marvels of the nature, creations of the nature, and it is our responsibility and our duty to protect these and save these for the future generations. So thank you so much, Ajitha, for coming and sharing your story, your wonderful trekking story with us.
Thanks a lot.
That was yet another great episode of the Musafir Stories. If you guys like the show, please subscribe to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Audioboom, Savan, Pocket Casts, Castbox, Stitcher, or any other podcasting app available on iOS or Android. Please do leave us a review on iTunes. It goes a long way in the show's discoverability. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We go by the handle The Musafir Stories. Or, if it suits you, you could email us at themusafirstories@gmail.com or visit our website at www.themusafirstories.com for more information. All of these links will be made available in the show notes section of each episode. So here's to more traveling, sharing, and inspiring. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, happy travels and goodbye.